we've heard from the operator perspective, we've heard from service company perspective, so now from a technology center, I introduce Dr. Murat Sagandipov, who is the head of the Center for Enhanced Oil Recovery. He's a reservoir and EOR engineer with experience in industry, applied research, and academia. His core expertise is chemical EOR, focusing on polymer flooding and gel conformance. Dr. Murat has led multiple EOR pilot and full field projects in Kazakhstan, making significant contributions to the deployment of polymer flooding in mature fields. He holds a bachelor's and master's degree in reservoir engineering from China University of Petroleum in Area 1 and PhD from Saint-Bayat University. Dr. Murat.
Honor to me to be here, to stand here and present our experience in enhanced oil recovery, and especially on polymer flooding. It's a low risk, high reward opportunity for unlocking high-end barrels, billion of barrels. So polymer flood, in the beginning when I started my career, I thought it's something magic with different color, something blue magic water, blue magic fluid, with special performance, but when I go through this more than 1 decade, I realize that it's just viscosified water. And it's just, if you do a pressure maintenance of water injections, it means you can do a polymer flood. So the first mechanism of polymer flood is increasing viscosity, thereby solves the problem of mobility ratio, where you have a high viscosity oil. If you inject the water, if you can see movie at the bottom side, it will finger out at the micro scale and harms your displacement efficiency. In contrast, if you add a little polymer in the injected water, it will significantly increase the viscosity 20-30 times and improve your microscopic sweep efficiency. The second mechanism is related to overcoming permeability contrast or reservoir heterogeneity, which is a common feature of virtually all oil fields in the world. So all of them, as a nature-based, have a permeability heterogeneity, and if you inject the water at the bottom side, it will go mainly to the road where you have a less resistance or high permeability, and you will not sweep the oil at the low permeability part, and polymer flood can help you to improve the sweep efficiency and effectively penetrate and filtrate the polymer solution in low permeable part, and thereby producing more oil. And that's why it's very simple. However, we already, decades and decades, already a century doing water flood, starting from 1920s. And we have results in many statistics, and these statistics shown here, provided by CC Reservoir, that the average recovery factor under water flood is less than 35%. It means we're not doing a good job because the yield is 35%. Could you imagine you hire a guy, you paid to him $1,000, but he working only for $350, and other 650 is just losing. So we should think about our minds and how to improve it. I would like to be on the other side of the coin, so I would like to be at least 50% more yield. So, and this idea can be resolved by the EOR. So typically, enhanced oil recovery factors is ranging above 45% to 50 to 60%, somewhere is 70, but in average is 50%, which is 15% more than water flood. And incremental EOR over water flood is ranging from 5 to 20-25%. And globally speaking, EOR most big scale is in the United States of America, and mainly is related to gas injection, is a CO2 injection. telling the truth, CO2 is the most feasible, most efficient way to improve recovery. However, it has its limitations. So first of all, you have a source. You should have a big source of CO2, otherwise you cannot do it efficiently. The second one, it's a hazardous gas, and if something happens, leakages, it's an unsafety. That's why it has limitations of the application. And that's why it's not using in Kazakhstan, for example, because we don't have large CO2 reservoirs near the oil fields. And CCUS not working because CCUS is only tiny volumes of CO2. It cannot make a significant contribution to the IOR. And second, large-scale implementation in China, in Zhongguo. So they are very good in CO2 also, but they are pioneers of full-scale implementation of chemicals, mainly polymers-based surfactants, alkalines. So worldwide, so as I'm an expert in polymers, application of polymers for enhanced oil recovery, I'm not polymer chemistry guy, because this chemistry is very complicated things, and I think Rejuvenating must much more simple things to solve. And worldwide, we can see that applications numbers is more than 100. Someone says that it's 350 projects, but we found in literature more than 150 covering all metrics of the world: China, Middle East, Russian Federation, Kazakhstan, Central Asia, Europe, America, North, South America, and I would like to focus on the latest recent remarkable achievements in North Slope of Alaska, USA, and Prudhoe Bay Basin. So this field, very familiar for BP guys, who was an operator at that time, 1980s, 1990s, the field called Mini Point. And later operators changed, and the last operator called Hillcorp. They positioning themselves as a champion of brownfields. So they make acquisition of brownfields, old fields, and use the EOR, improve drilling efficiency, improve completion, pumps, and so on, go to optimize the solution for whole field and improve recovery. So in this picture, you can see before the acquisition, daily production was just above 10,000 barrels per day, and now it's producing more than 30, close to 40,000 barrels. So they tripled production, and increased 4 times, and it's mainly because of polymer flood. So they have about 50 pads of horizontal wells where they inject in polymer solution, and all injectors using polymer solution to inject it. It's industry standard for them. They're not doing first water flood, make baselines, and do polymer flood. They understand that it's harms efficiency and go to polymer flood directly from the beginning, from day one. And before this, Canadian and Chinese experience helped them to understand this. And first they do tertiary polymer flood in 2018 in JPAC. Is a right side of the picture. And they found that at the meantime, when they start injection, it has been water flooded over a couple of years, and water cut increased up to 70%, while recovery factor was less than 10, about 5%. And once they started polymer flood, water cut drops to close to zero, less than 5%. And it was the most remarkable results of the polymer flood injection worldwide. But because of water already makes these breakthrough passes, the polymer efficiency started to decrease, and now it's about 50%. Then they said, okay, we proved that it's a working tertiary, but theoretical expectation, world experience shows that we should, how about starting from day one? And they did it for the next pilot and see more efficient way to displace the oil. So now water cut very low, less than 10%, while injecting 21% of pore volume injecting when they have very high viscosity oil, 850 centipoise, and before 20% of recovery factor, they have water cut zero, nothing, only pure oil production. So now they understand that they should do polymer flood from the beginning, from the day one. So now all paths, all primary and secondary polymer flood, no tertiary. And speaking from the global speaking, I would like to share experience near countries, your brotherhood country, Kazakhstan, just another side of the Caspian Sea, the western part of Kazakhstan, and we have very famous field called Kalamkas field, and it's discovered in 1979, and at that time our fathers and our our grandfathers knew that this field should be put on polymer flood because it had high viscosity and very high heterogeneity, otherwise the recovery efficiency will be low, and they start polymer flood also from day one, and it's covered almost half of the field was under polymer injection, and they produced more than 7 million barrels of additional oil, but the Soviet Union has been stopped, separated, and it was economic crisis, and all these initiatives have been stopped. Then, after 25 years of independence, we again back to polymer flood. Although polymer flood not new technology for Kazakhstan and for the world because it already exists 60 years, but for this timing, it's a tertiary, it was a novel technology, and we did first pilots in 2014, and now after 10 years we proved it. We do special design, special investigation, many PhD dissertation, researches and so on, including my PhD dissertation was related to polymer flood in Kazakhstan, in Kalamkas field, and we proved it. And finally got the full field project, which has been passed through all regulatory and has been approved by the state, and now it's already started full field implementation, which is covering about 10% of the polymer water injectors, covering more than 200-300 offset producers, and it is not the limitation, it's a low yield because it's related to OPEX prices. If the polymer price and operational expenditure will be lower, the number of injectors will increase, incremental recovery also will increase. So we also expanding this good example over our other fields. So now it's already launched, recently launched half year ago, a pilot project for Wizem field. Wizem field also very, very famous. Many Azerbaijani brothers worked there, started to help us to share the experience, and now it's operated by Caspian and Gas National Oil Company, and we started pilot. And I hope that Wizem field will rely on polymer flood in the future, near future. So the last slide, so about it's a slide of my friend Antoine Thomas from France. He's a very smart guy, and he recently published a paper called Rethinking Risks Related to Enhanced Oil Recovery. So he said, we're without hesitation ready to pay to invest $400 million for 4 wildcat drilling for exploration, and we knew that we lost 300 of them because success rate of the discovery is only 20%. 25%. And we were ready to lose this $300 million just because we should do it. And when we go to bright water or water alternative gas injection or polymer flood, we say $1 million or $10 million is too expensive and too risky. Whereas the success rate of well-designed, well-operated EOR operation is more than 80%. And we know that under our beneath, under the ground, there is an oil field, there is an existing infrastructure, there is an existing operator, there is an existing salary, everything is there. Just modify it a little bit, and you can improve your recovery. It's very obvious. So we should try to think in another way. Otherwise, if we will go through our old road, nothing changed. Einstein thought about that, so it's nothing new. And during the executive plenary, it's repeated many times. So I encourage everybody to make actions to change our mind. And we should expand our discussion on EOR. EOR is very specific, very specific area of the reservoir engineering, which is involved applied chemistry, physics, reservoir engineering, simulation, numerical simulation, everything. So we held recently, last month, SOCAR people headed by Dr. Ali joined us, make honor for us, and we held in Almaty, the heart of Central Asia, EOR seminar, and we already planning to do it at the last week of May 2027 in Kazakhstan again, and I encourage all of you to participate in this event next time. And finally, we recorded podcast during this EOR seminar, and we shared our insights. So at the left side is Dr. Randy Siraj from New Mexico Tech. I call him grandfather of polymer flood, and without hesitation call myself grandson of polymer flood. And here's Antoine Thomas. I encourage all of you, please go to the QR code and you can watch this podcast at the YouTube. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Murat. So I actually worked in Alaska and in Milne Point in the time frame you were talking about, so I felt like half your presentation was directed at me, but we'll talk later during the Q&A.
From where he takes this slide.
Last but certainly not least, we have Murad Saidov.